Welcome to episode 40, everybody. I am Luke Parrish.
I'm AJ Ferguson.
And I'm Paul Tabling.
All right, so we are the big 4-0 this week. That is,
Whoa.
Think about it. We've done 40 episodes of Two Dudes a Movie. Does it feel like we've done more or less than that?
I don't know, man.
More, personally.
More?
I've
done over a year now.
I've done less than that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I feel like we've done more than that.
I've only done 25.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, if you include bonus features, we've done like 43, 44,
true.
That
something
is
like
true.
that.
That is true.
Yeah.
So no, for me it feels like less. But
Okay.
I've been cranking them out the last 2 or 3 months. I think that in my head,
Yeah.
kind of feels like it's how it's been for a long time.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we've also had a nice little break because of Luke's travel schedule. I had a family emergency and all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
but we're back.
There was definitely no movie watching on that trip. I gotta tell you that.
It seemed like it was a lot of business for you. Like you were busy.
I had a surprising amount of free time as well. Like,
Oh, that's good.
But I was in places I'd never been. Like, so like New York City. Like, I'd never
Dude.
been to like Madison Square Garden or anything. So, or Times Square. I mean, Madison Square Garden sucked. That place
Dude,
is dirty
MSG
and it's a architectural nightmare.
Piece of dump.
Dang.
Yeah, like walking around the
Wow.
back hallways of that place. No, thank you. People were also pretty mean. But other than
New
that,
York.
like New York City as a whole was awesome. I loved
Okay.
it.
All right.
Absolutely loved it. Boston was legit. I'll definitely pay a visit
You went
to
to
those
Detroit,
two
too?
places again. I went to Detroit. Don't suggest going there again. We'll skip right over that one.
Okay.
Their arena is the nicest arena I've ever been into, though. Little Caesars Arena.
Oh,
where the
nice.
Pistons and the Red Wings play.
Nice.
That place is nice.
Okay.
Little
Like,
Caesars dropping the cash.
yeah, and down there in the media dining where we like eat and stuff, all you can eat Little Caesars pizza.
Nice.
And it's the best Little
All you
Caesars
can
you've
You've ever had?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Because it was awesome.
That's amazing.
Now you're gonna never like Oklahoma Little Caesars again.
Never. I'm like, oh, it's like a deep dish.
It's like when you
pepperoni.
drink the Mexican Coke that has like the real sugar.
Right,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You back to like regular Coke, you're like, ugh.
Grody.
Exactly.
No
But yeah,
good.
enough about me.
Good stuff.
Because of my trip, it's been like what, 2 weeks?
It's almost 3, I
Something
think.
like that. Yeah.
Golly, it felt like a long
2.5.
time. While I was
Ish.
introing
Yeah.
like a minute ago, like I almost forgot what I was doing. But
Let's stay.
right. But for this episode, we reviewed The Departed. We're gonna get to that later. Right now, we're gonna talk about what we've been watching. AJ, do you want to start us off?
Okay, I been watching a lot of TV recently.
Your telly.
I got caught up on the Clone Wars.
Nice.
I have not watched today's episode. I plan
have
on
not-
doing that tonight when I get home.
Yep. I have not watched the new one.
I've only
for
watched the
today's.
first one
Oh.
so far.
I've watched the first two. This is the third
Three.
one. This is the third one. No,
No, there's
3.
three.
So I've watched the first 3.
Bad Batch, Distant Echo. I forget what the third one's called,
Yeah.
but there's a third one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. I've watched those. I watched. So Callie and I are bored, and we're kind of in like the show hole. You know what I'm talking about? Where
Oh,
you're,
yeah.
Like, between shows, you don't
Oh,
really know
yeah.
what to watch. You're just kind of wasting time until you decide.
Yeah, bro.
So we watched a couple episodes of Emperor's New School.
Dude, I remember that show.
I watched the show as a kid and I loved it.
Yep.
It was rough.
Yeah, a lot of
going.
those OG Disney shows that we watched do not hold up.
No.
Proud Family, hilarious.
Proud
Yeah.
Family
Still
is-
funny
Oh yeah,
as an
dude.
adult. Loved it. I honestly, Callie does not want to keep watching the show, but I honestly would watch. Like, there's only 2 seasons. I'd
Yeah.
probably watch
Really?
the whole 2 seasons.
A lot of those old shows, like I keep looking back,
Yeah,
I'm like,
they're
I feel
short.
like they were on forever.
I know.
But
Well,
they
it's
only
good.
had, like,
It was
a few
all
seasons.
reruns.
It's all reruns.
Yeah.
Like, and it was it started, and then every night it played, and then when it got to the end, it just started
started
over
over.
Yeah.
again. So it just
True.
felt like it was.
We watched Old School Robin Hood with the animals.
Nice.
And the
Yeah, dude.
rooster on the banjo.
The whistling.
whistling
The
rooster.
Yep, classic. Love that one.
Yep.
We watched a movie called Valiant on Disney Plus. You guys ever heard of it? It's the
No.
little World War II movie with the pigeons, or the messenger pigeons.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
No.
It's not good. But Obi-Wan Kenobi's the main pigeon, so check that out. Step
Also
Brothers.
known as Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor. I like to
real name?
refer to him as Obi-Wan Kenobi because that's who he is in my heart. I watched him, the Winnie the Pooh movie, the real life.
Yeah. that's
Christopher
pretty-
Robin.
I literally was like crying. I was so sad for him that he was like, he's fallen so far. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi's like,
What?
up
That
here.
movie's good.
That
That movie's
I
good.
haven't seen it.
I literally was like, Ewan McGregor, what are you doing?
That movie's good.
I couldn't even call him Ewan McGregor. Okay, Step Brothers. I watched that one by
Nice.
myself. I'm not a fan.
Will Ferrell has a lot of misses for
Dude,
me.
Will Ferrell is like, oh, dude, like prime Will Ferrell is the other guys.
Dude.
And then every other Will Ferrell movie is like, meh. For me.
Daddy's Home is good.
Daddy's Home's good too. I forgot about that one. But dude, yeah, Step Brother. I laughed twice.
Talladega Nights?
Okay.
No.
No?
I like Talladega
Yes?
Nights more than any of the other movies besides the two Paul already said.
Okay.
But I laughed like twice.
Anchorman?
No, I don't.
Okay, Anchor.
I
yeah,
don't like Anchorman.
I got the Anchorman poster.
Bro, I don't like Anchorman.
That's
Excuse me.
I like Talladega Nights more than Anchorman.
dude.
Anyway, Step Brothers. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is the greatest comedy of all time." I'm like, "You guys are on crack."
I think it's funny.
I laughed like twice.
I mean, it's got
The
some
funniest
funny.
part of the whole movie is when John C. is sitting there and he just farts during an interview, and the guy's like, and it just keeps
Seth
going.
Rogen?
It just keeps going. Yeah, Seth Rogen. And it just keeps going. He's like, I'm gonna be straight with you. I farted just now. He's like, get out. I laughed at that. I laughed at
Well,
that
he
part.
talks about like how he can taste it and stuff. Like,
Yes,
I can taste that.
That was about the only part I laughed at. And of course, it's a fart joke. Like, anyway,
All fart jokes are funny.
no
don't know what
joke.
you're
I will
talking
laugh at fart jokes, no matter when and where they happen. And then most recently, we've been watching the Imagineering
about. Oh yeah.
Disney.
Disney Plus
Yep.
documentary series. It's all about how like the Imagineers like designed Disneyland, Disney World,
Right.
like the history of it. It's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. It's getting slow in the middle, but it was interesting at first, I guess.
Somebody told me about that the other day, and they were like, "Have you watched this?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "It doesn't interest me." And I was like,
Yeah.
"I've never been to Disneyland."
I haven't either.
So it just, but he like loves Disneyland apparently, and has been a bunch of times, and is like, and it's
Yeah.
it's good to him. But I'm just like,
See, I've never been, and I've never really been interested in it.
yeah,
And so for me, I was like, I'll watch it because like those are like really cool and impressive like things in our
It's
country.
a cool but very expensive
But
experience.
it's like I don't know. The first episode was cool. It was worth watching.
Okay.
Because it's all about Walt Disney, like the person,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really interesting, like his vision for everything.
yeah.
Since then, it's gone like, meh. Like at the very end of episode 1, he like dies because it's like the '60s,
Yeah.
and then after that, like the whole company like takes over after that, and it's just
Yeah.
like I don't really care anymore.
Bob Iger. And
But it was good the first time, the first episode. But that's all I've been watching.
Gotcha.
I think I felt like
So no movies.
I watched
Valiant.
Step
Valiant.
Brothers,
Oh, yes.
Valiant, Robin Hood.
Okay. Wow. Why did I get no movies out of that? I wasn't really paying attention to when you were
Well,
talking,
they're
AJ.
They're all like, I have not watched anything good in a while.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Uh,
maybe that's where I was going.
the
with
last
that.
good thing I watched was The Departed, and that was literally like 3 weeks ago. Like the night after we recorded the last episode, I went and watched The Departed, and that's
Yeah.
like the last good thing I've watched.
Wow.
Besides Clone Wars, I like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Alright.
it's been a bad couple of weeks for me.
Luke.
All right. I'll start with my television. Did I talk about that? Did I say that Danielle and I finished Scrubs last time?
Maybe
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know.
we finished Scrubs.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
been a long journey,
all
but we made
17
it.
seasons.
I'm sure I'll start that journey again in here in a few months. Danielle loved it. She cried. She laughed throughout the whole
Yes.
series. So I mean, it was a win for Luke. I was like, yes, she likes it.
Nice.
I am in the
Scrubs.
final season of Rebels now.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm a few episodes in, and this is
We
only
should-
15 season, so I should be done quickly.
We should for sure do a bonus feature on
I think we
Yeah,
should.
once it'll be fun.
I think season 2 is my favorite so far. That's where Ahsoka fights Darth Vader.
That's season 3.
think it's
That's
3.
it's like halfway through season
I think
3.
it's 3.
Yeah.
Darth Maul
Season
comes in
3 I
and
think
all
has
that
been my
gets
favorite
messed
so
up.
far.
3 is a good season.
But I've liked the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
I even miss like long-haired Ezra.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
like-
yeah. Then you're in that season 3. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, I'm in season 4 now. They're doing a lot of Mandalorian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been cool. I'm excited to finish it. Maybe I'll finish it this weekend since I have time now. But I watched 2 movies since I've gotten back. I watched John Wick Parabellum.
Nice.
3 Parabellum.
That's your
Yep.
favorite? like
No,
the first one
I think we all agree the first one's
Yeah.
all of our favorites. This one I want to say is my second favorite. I like the second one a lot. Like, see, they're also because I like them all.
Yeah.
This one definitely has the most action in it.
Yeah. I like this
By
as
far.
pure action.
This one has a lot of great action scenes.
See, for me, that's why it was the bottom of the 3.
Yeah,
It's not bad. It's just the weakest, in my opinion.
it's a big setup for the
But-
4 one, I think.
Yeah, I do want to see the 4th one. I mean, I'm excited for the 4th.
Because this one you learn a lot about you learn something about his past. Like you kind of figure out you don't really know much about him, that he's like this
Right.
really like kick butt assassin guy who's like known as the Baba Yaga or whatever.
Yeah.
And like we learn whenever they walk through the ladies' ballerina place, and there's those guys in there grappling. She's like, oh, like fond memories of movies. So I mean, you notice that John Wick uses a lot of grappling moves in his fighting. You're like, oh shoot, like this is where he learned like all this stuff. And
Yep.
so I mean, it's cool and you find out some more, like where they make the coins, where all this, and so you're still finding stuff out. They still have stuff to tell you, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You're right though. I mean, there's tons of action, and that does take away. There's very small sliver of plot there, really.
It's very Transformers-esque. Let's do some really cool stuff, and then just kind of slap some story in there if we need to.
I do really like the Japanese bad guy, though.
Yeah.
No, I do too. He's a good bad guy.
He was cool.
They were cool.
That's with all the glass, right? When they break
Yeah.
glass like for 30 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it keeps
how many
getting thrown
people
through
can we
the
throw
cases.
through a mirror? Holy cow. I was like,
No.
is this the same shot they used earlier? I thought it was the same exact thing over and over.
So yeah, there's minimal story,
It's a
but
cool
like
fight scene.
great like fight
No,
scenes,
oh, yeah,
action, all
for
that.
sure.
But
That's
for
some
me,
really
this
cool
felt
stuff
like a
in
big setup before, because at the end, you know, they're like they're setting up to like go against the high table kind of
Neo
thing.
and
So do you
Morpheus
think he actually
team
betrays
up.
him?
Huh?
You think he actually betrays him?
No.
You think it's just fake?
Well, if you notice, like spoiler alert, hold on. So at the end, whenever Winston shoots him, do you remember earlier in the movie where the doctor's like, shoot me here, it won't kill me?
Yeah,
That's where Winston shot John Wick.
Okay, that's how I felt. But people I spoke to after were like, "Holy crap, no, he like legit, tried to kill
No,
him." I think it was too.
I think it was on purpose.
I was surprised at first, but I was like, no, he totally did that.
No, because this is definitely going to team up and they're going to take down the high tables the next movie.
For sure. I think that was his way of getting out of the high tables, like the beef
Line
that
of
he
sight,
had.
yeah.
But also, like getting himself freed up to team up and then
so they can have some room to work. Yeah,
I agree.
that's my thought.
It's crazy how
setup.
those 3 movies only happen over a span of like
2 weeks. He said.
That's crazy.
Like what?
But,
That makes a lot of sense. So I watched that, and then literally before I got here, I finished a movie.
Nice.
An indie movie called Attack the Block.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
So it has a teenage John Boyega in it, Finn from Star Wars.
Nice.
And is a very British movie, or very English movie, like "What's up, bruv?" like all that kind of stuff. Hey, fam, all that. And so it's basically this takes place in one night, and it's an alien invasion. So this queen alien lands. We don't know that yet, that she's the queen, but she lands. These guys find it, and these teenagers, John Boyega's like their gang. They're a gang.
Yeah.
It's like a low income area of London or whatever, and so they like have a instance with this alien, and then they kill it eventually. It's a small one, it's a female, and so later on all these other aliens start showing up and attack him, and they're following him it's just it's not like a outstanding movie, but it was a really fun movie to watch. It was short. It was like an hour and a half.
Interesting.
Okay.
And it's basically them versus the aliens, and it takes place in this block, hence Attack the Block.
Got it.
And no, it was really cool. It was a cool concept for the aliens, because the aliens, they have no eyes, but it's all scent, and their mouths are like, when they open it up, they're like this neon blue color. And so they use the darkness in the movie a lot to like show that. Like they'll be standing there, and then in the back, all of a sudden you see this like kind of bluish glow, and you're like, oh shoot.
Dang.
But it was really good. It has Jodie Whittaker, who is the current Doctor Who. If
Okay.
I'm correct. There's a lot of actors you recognize. Like if you've ever seen Legends of Tomorrow on the CW, the Human Torch, the guy who plays him, he's one of the characters in it.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people. The fat guy from Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, the fat British guy. He's in it. He's a weed dealer.
That's funny.
So it's good. I'd recommend it. It's a fun little indie movie, and they use, obviously it's indie movies being low budget, but I think it's really cool seeing them use the low budgetness in their like favor, like figuring out the problems to the solutions. Like there's no budget, so there's no CGI or anything, so they're all like real, like it looks like people in like gorilla suits almost, like like on stilt kind of thing. It's neat.
Interesting.
Definitely check it out. It has like a 90 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's all I've been watching, Paul.
Okay. So all right. So TV stuff I've been watching. Yeah, I actually started rewatching Clone Wars. Started with season 3. Seems like, because it seems like or maybe it's 4. I don't remember. Kind of where the whole Mandalore stuff starts.
Yeah.
With
Satine and all that.
Yep. And then
Poor Satine.
Yeah, rip.
she got it bad.
Sad scene. Felt bad for Obi-Wan, not for Satine.
I know, right?
Poor guy.
But then I'm also rewatching House.
Oh yeah.
Daniel's
I
just finished that.
forgot you were a fan of that.
That's
show.
one of my favorite
Yeah,
shows, man.
forgot
It's
you
it's
liked
on my
that
top 25
Forgot you
Movies?
liked
Or TV shows.
TV shows. Yeah, yeah.
that one.
And
You have all
then
the DVDs, don't you?
yeah, I have all the DVDs. That's one of the shows that I have everything of.
So
And
you know
then-
it's a real show.
That's how
exactly
you know you really like it.
exactly when you buy the DVD sets.
No joke.
Especially back when it was like all
Yep.
you had to buy
Once a year.
yeah, and it was like $60 or whatever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But and then Jane and I are watching Full House on Hulu.
Nice.
I never was into that show, but
Yeah.
it's actually really funny.
Bob Saget, huh?
Bob Saget and old Stamos,
John
Yeah,
Stamos. Yeah.
Stamos.
dude. It's
Wow.
it's got some funny parts.
Yeah, no joke.
Movie wise, I watched Goodfellas for the first time.
Scorsese.
That movie was actually really really good. I really enjoyed that movie a lot.
Joe Pesci.
It had a lot of similarities to Irishman.
Ah.
And it actually made me appreciate Irishman just a bit more, and I want to watch it again.
Interesting.
Was it an Irish mob movie?
Yeah, I
I was
mean,
about to
it's,
say he likes those Irish mobs.
Right,
That's
he
like
makes,
The Departed,
almost exclusively
Irishman.
mob movies.
Casino, I think, is very similar as well. But this one, Goodfellas, is all centered around Ray Liotta's character, and same kind of thing. You don't actually see him narrating the movie, but like in Irishman. But with this one, he's like narrating the movie and like stuff that's happening and kind of telling the behind the scenes,
Right.
and all this. But I mean, yeah, it's Joe Pesci, De Niro.
Solid.
It was very good. I think it was on Netflix. So,
Yeah, it's on my
Um,
list.
and then I also watched a new Netflix movie by my boy Mark Wahlberg called Spencer Confidential.
I saw that on your letterbox. I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah, so it's a Netflix original.
Okay.
But is Mark Wahlberg, and it's he was a Boston police officer, all set in Boston. Actually, all shot in Boston.
That's like exclusively his movie roles or Boston like
Oh,
police
dude.
officers.
Have you
Or
seen the-
Texas for whatever
have you
weird
seen
reason.
The meme of him running like really hard towards something.
Yes.
And it's like Mark Wahlberg running toward any set anywhere in the world, filming anything about Boston anywhere, about anything, anytime.
Yes.
It was just him like going crazy.
That's right, bro.
It's so
That's
funny.
That's in like a tracksuit.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
That's his hometown, man.
Literally, anytime there's anything to do with Boston, he's like there.
But it's funny. I remember because obviously I follow him. I remember him posting something about it, him filming it, and it actually was like down the street from one of the houses he actually grew up in,
Oh,
which
wow.
made
cool.
me appreciate it even more. But it's about he's a Boston police officer who actually got arrested and sent to prison because he was trying to find corrupt cops. And so he was in prison for 5 years because he actually beat up his boss.
Sounds like half of The Departed.
Yeah, kind of. But then you never really learn if what's his name? There's the older guy who I have to look up now.
Samuel L. Jackson.
No,
So is Wahlberg in the movie?
Wahlberg. Yeah, he's in the movie. He's the main character. He's Spencer, but Alan Arkin
I love Alan Arkin.
is like his landlord, who, because it never really says he's his dad or anything like that, but like picks him up from prison and he goes home, and the guy who played M'Baku in Black Panther is like living in his room. And he like rented out his room to this other guy, so they have to like solve this crime together because they like not instantly, they like become friends and everything. It's got a lot of really really funny parts, but actually really
So it's an action comedy.
it's an action comedy,
Okay.
very much so. It's also got a lot of really predictable, like the plot was fairly predictable, but I enjoyed it at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like an other guy's feel, or is it like
yeah,
Get
kind.
Smart kind of feel?
I would say more Get Smart.
Okay.
It's more based around trying to solve the crime with funny bits,
Gotcha.
rather than a funny movie with some
With a
crime
little
in
bit
it.
of plot.
Okay.
thrown in.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then
Sounds
last
good.
one I watched was Knives Out.
Nice.
Finally
Yeah.
got that.
5-star rating on.
Dude, that
Letterboxd.
movie,
Great
yeah, I gave it a 5-star, and I really, really enjoyed that movie.
Top 5, 2019.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I forget what your list was off the top of my head.
It should
but
be on there. I mean, yeah, like if we redid
Was
it,
it on yours?
I would say,
It was not mine.
I think it was my number 4 or 5.
It'd be like
But,
honorable mention,
like,
I think.
I know we've kind of already talked about we may do this, but I just want to, because I'm like
Yeah,
was
go for
jazzed
it.
up on it.
No, go for it.
You know, how quickly did y'all figure it out, or did you not figure it out until the very, very end? Spoilers, because I'm going to get into it a little bit.
If you haven't watched it, then definitely don't listen, I guess. But I was really surprised when she killed him. Like, in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
You're like, holy crap, she gave him the wrong medicine. I was like, what?
That was the biggest surprise to me.
That threw me. Like, threw me. And then once I started to realize that, well, holy crap, she couldn't have killed him because then the whole movie is pointless from like the next hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not it. So then I started thinking about it. And I'm not going to say that I figured it out real quick, but somewhere halfway between that scene and the end is when I figured out it was Chris Evans' character. Didn't necessarily know how he did it.
Okay, so I kind of half figured it out pretty quickly, like
that
right
it
around
wasn't her?
That it wasn't her. I figured out that it was the grandpa, like was the actual one who. Well, I mean, like actually seriously killed himself, but I thought it was him the whole time.
The grandpa.
I thought he was gonna come out at the end and it was gonna be like some whole big game. Like I thought that's how the movie was gonna end, and then it went So I was not upset at all, but Luke, how quickly would you say you?
So, the whole time during the movie, like, to me, it was like the only person that made sense was Chris Evans' character, but I wasn't sure about it. Like, they kept trying to like prove me wrong. They kept trying to do this.
Everybody.
Yeah. So, like, even whenever he thought he was good, I still had my suspicions. I'm like, this is way too good to be true. This is like, this is all this, and I didn't. To me, any of my I couldn't imagine any other character in the movie doing it because they didn't set him up. They didn't spend time with that character like they did with,
everyone else.
So you didn't really spend time with the other characters. I'm like, if they sit there and said, "Oh, it was, the son or whatever," it'd been like, it would have been disappointing.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the only ways you can go too. But
I think the only character that I ever really seriously considered was the dad.
Walt, the one that limped.
No, sorry, the other dad. Chris Evans' dad.
Richard.
Yes, that was the only other character that I actually considered for like a portion of the movie.
Yeah.
Other than the nurse character, I guess that was really surprising.
Yeah, But anyway,
what did you think about the comedy?
I thought it was great.
Like,
I there were certain times where I laughed like hard.
I did too.
Like when Chris Evans is like cracking up at the part where the will reading, I was just laughing with him. I was like, that's hilarious. Even though I knew that was what was going to happen. Like I did figure out that like with that whole big spiel and everything that he was going to give all the stuff to her and everything. And then I just was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of...
I was surprised by it, that it was funny. I knew it was going to be a little funny because of the trailer, but like I didn't figure it'd be that funny, and it blew me away how funny it was, and how clever some of the humor was.
No, yeah, it was good subtle stuff. Yeah. I think her throwing up at the lying thing was kind of weird, but
yeah, that was a weird. Like,
I mean, it was
funny.
It wasn't just useless.
No,
because they used it for purposes, but it was a little strange to me.
Super weird at first.
And see, to me, I was like, okay, this is this early on. I try to figure out movies way too quickly, and I just noticed little things from the movie starting out with her. I was like, oh, she's the killer. I just immediately was like, oh, psh. And so from then on, I was like, okay, how am I gonna piece this together that it's her? And I was like, oh, this is a perfect thing for her to fake.
Right.
To somehow make her... And I thought it was fake until, like, the very end.
So you were fooled in the end?
Ish. I would say about 50%.
See, I wasn't fooled in the end nearly as much as I was in the middle. And a lot of people complained about that because they wanted to be fooled in the end because that's how murder mysteries are supposed to go. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, but, like, you got that same feeling. At least I did. Yeah. It just wasn't the end. I
did not see the whole Chris Evans thing. I was fooled with that part. But I figured that
it's interesting that you saw the girl part but not his part, and we both saw the Chris Evans part.
I mean, and
that's interesting.
I from the moment of the actual scene where because she's thinking back of like how she accidentally gave him the wrong thing and everything like that. And the moment she said that the antidote is missing, and his reaction was not crazy, like, oh my God, I was like, is him. I thought that he was the one who have done it because again, he had easy access and all this stuff and that blah 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 blah.
Yeah. I love
so
how
that's why I thought it was him the whole time.
Yeah, I love how they tied in the grandma, like the crazy old lady.
Yeah, the great
That was
grandma.
funny. I thought that was funny, and I love the donut hole bit that he does.
That was
Like
weird,
a donut.
but it was kind of funny.
So funny.
And then
So
the other
random.
cop was like, "Can we get on with it,
So
please?"
random.
Yes.
Hey,
I could
also
not- I
a
couldn't
Boston
take-
movie.
Yeah, I could not take his accent seriously for the first like 30 minutes.
When
And
Chris
once I got
Evans
used
went
to it-
CSI KFC, I was like, "That is." I forgot that was in the trailer.
Yes.
I was like, "That's the funniest."
It was pretty
That's
great.
good.
I loved it.
I love how they did the intro to that movie with all the different characters sitting down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great way to introduce the story, but also introduce the characters.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Good job, Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
for episode 8.
Oh.
Bro, Luca,
All right.
come
Well,
on.
that's just a snippet of maybe a couple of weeks away.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for next time.
Yeah, no joke. Great movie.
Top five.
Top 5.
Top 5
Dude, this was fun. This
Top
was a
5
fun
movie
one.
endings. Yep.
Yes.
This is a really fun one for me personally.
We did closings last
I
time.
enjoyed it.
Or
We,
openings.
we did openings last time. This is closings, endings, however you want to,
Nice.
whatever you want to call it.
I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts. Before we start, did y'all do like final cut, final scene, final shot, or like the final like climax to the ending? Does it kind of vary movie to movie?
It varied for me. It was some of them are very much from climax to end.
Yeah.
Some of them are very end
Like the last
scenes.
Yeah.
Some are
mine's
last.
definitely climax to end.
Interesting.
For sure.
See, that's how my kind of varies. So like my first honorable mention is Iron Man, the original Iron Man, and that's for the very end. Whenever he says,
Oh, I am
Iron
Iron
Man.
Man.
that when I left the theater, I was like,
Dude.
this is awesome. Like that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like no one's ever done like that was so unprecedented at that point in time that I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
Well, it's cool too because you're so used to superheroes being just like,
Yeah,
I have to hide my
exactly.
identity
I have to
and all
hide
that.
my identity.
And having a
Gotta wear
confident
this
like guy
mask.
get up there and be like,
Oh,
I am.
no, I
Iron Man.
loved it.
It's
I literally loved it. I was like, what? And the whole place stands up and freaks out, and it just cuts. And I was that was amazing. So that's my first honorable mention. My other 2 honorable mentions are Gladiator and Braveheart. And bro, Braveheart for
Very
me,
similar.
yeah, they are very similar. That's why I included them both. I
Yeah.
didn't really want to rank any of them like higher than the other.
Yeah.
And for me, it's climax to the end. It's the final fight scene. It's the hero laying down their life for whatever cause it is. Very similar, like you said. And then tragically dying, but still achieving
No, I
the
like
victory
that.
that they
Yeah.
wanted. So for me, both of those movies are very similar. They're both similar movies all the way through, but the
Yeah.
endings are extremely
I
similar.
think I like Braveheart's
And-
ending better than Gladiator.
I was
But I
just-
like
it
Gladiator
goes,
too.
yeah. For me,
I was about to
it's-
say that same thing. Yeah.
Gladiator's. Gosh,
I
dude.
kind of forgot about Gladiator's
Gladiator's
ending.
so emotional.
Oh, dude, for sure.
I think Gladiator's more emotional than Braveheart, personally. Braveheart's probably a stronger ending because you actually get to see the Scots charge and win.
Yeah.
Gladiator, he just kind of walks through the field. But anyway, both of those movies, outstanding endings. We're actually going to review Gladiator sometime in the next couple of months. It's on the list, I think.
Yep.
But those are my 3 honorable mentions.
Okay.
Nice.
I also have 3 honorable mentions.
Ooh.
First one, The Prestige.
Nice.
Yeah, if there's any doubt about that. Number
good.
2 is La La Land.
Okay.
Ooh, I never saw that one.
Never seen
Yeah.
it.
How does
but-
it end? I'm never going to watch it, so you can tell me how it ends.
Dude, yeah, you really can. Like, I'm
Okay.
I'm
I will
probably
not
gonna.
watch
So
it.
big spoilers. I'll give you a little tiny bit of context. So context is
I think I've heard how this movie goes anyway. So
Emma
yeah, keep
Stone
going.
and Ryan Gosling, they're living in Hollywood or whatever, and they, develop a relationship. He's a jazz pianist, and she wants to get into movies and stuff like that. And so at the end, some stuff happens. She has to move on with her life. She gets married and all this, and he becomes a successful jazz owner. It's 10 years later. She stumbles
Yeah, I have
upon
heard
his
about this.
jazz club. She walks down. He's in there singing, doing his thing. He sees her in the crowd, but doesn't acknowledge make a big point. He just kind of acknowledges her in the crowd and plays, and they have this connection, but they've both become their best selves at the same time, and so they're both happy, but they're both it's a solid ending.
Interesting.
And third one's The Matrix.
Nice.
So the realization that Neo is God.
Interesting.
Bruh. I like that. Okay, so mine are Moneyball. I love the ending of that.
You talking about whenever he goes to the Red Sox?
I haven't
Or-
seen
A
it.
little bit
Before
before that. It's pretty much from the scene where Jonah Hill's character is showing him the film of their D League team.
Yeah, and the guy.
And the guy, like, and it's so powerful. I was like, how he's to set the scene up. He's going through this film, and they've lost the World Series again for the second or the chance to get to the World Series second time in 2 years.
Yeah,
and Jonah Hill's character's like, "Hey, come here and watch this." And Brad Pitt's like, "Nah, I don't want to watch any more film." Like, he's like distraught. He's down.
He didn't want to do anything.
And he's like, "No, you need to come in and watch this." And so he sits down and he's like, "This is whatever the guy's name is." And I mean, he's a big old boy, like 6'5", 350, playing minor league baseball, their minor league team. And he hits the ball and the guy pauses it and he's like, "All right, so here's the deal. This guy is," so he says something or other. It's all about his fear, all about he's afraid to, he's never run to second base. That's what it was. He's like,
he never goes to second base. He always stops at first, no matter how hard he hits it.
Yeah,
he never rounds the base. He always just runs through it.
And he's like, he's about to do something he never does, and he plays it and he runs, and he gets past first and he stops and falls. And so Brad Pitt's like, "Oh, they're laughing at him," and all this stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, they're laughing at him because he hit it 20 feet over the post. He hit a home run and didn't know it." And from that point on to the end where, he goes to the Red Sox, turns them down. And then I love the scene at the very end where he actually is like laying on the field at the Oakland Stadium. It's so awesome and powerful. Just his love for the game. I love that movie.
Good movie.
And then on a less serious note, John Wick 2.
Yeah,
how that one ends.
That is a good ending.
Dude, that ending, mainly the very end of it where he's in the park and he's having to run.
Yep.
And you're just like,
you're seeing people starting to get the texts and stuff like that.
Whoa. That's good.
Talking about building tension with the final scene.
Dude.
Good one.
All right, AJ, number 5?
Number 5 for me is Endgame. Bro, and this is definitely one of those from the climax to the end. Like,
I didn't even think about
the whole
the
ending.
last hour of the movie.
Literally, I was like, where does the end start? And I was like, honestly, it starts whenever Hulk does the snap. And I was like, that's like 45 to 60 minutes before the end of the movie. And I was like, it counts. That totally counts.
Dude, oh, yeah, it counts.
So for me, I got to include that one. Like, that is one of the greatest fight scenes in film history.
That's a good one.
And even if you want to get picky and say the fight scene doesn't count, the emotional climax of Cap and Iron Man both dying. Obviously, Cap doesn't literally die, I guess.
Oh, when he gets Mjolnir.
But when Cap comes back as the old man, and then they have Tony's funeral, and Happy says, "I'll buy you all the cheeseburgers you want." You're like,
man. Those were not happy tears. I was like, oh!
That's ugly crying in the theater.
I love you 3000. Yeah, that's my number 5.
Number 5. Luke?
My number 5 is 8 Mile.
Ooh.
Okay.
Eminem. So at the end, whenever he's going against, his like nemesis in the movie, he's after he's been beaten the whole time, he's been pushed, he's been bullied and all this. At the end of the movie, he comes in and he like musically destroys his nemesis.
The dude. Yeah.
And that's kind of his journey to becoming Eminem or whatever. But
interesting.
It's an interestingly good movie.
It sounds like
even if you're not into like rap music, it's a halfway decent story.
Yeah.
And it's actually played by the guy Eminem.
Yeah, it's all based on his life.
And it's based on his story. Yeah. It's good. It's a good movie.
That's where the song Lose Yourself comes from, that movie.
Yep. Yeah. The main Eminem song that
Mom
everybody
Spaghetti.
knows.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Poor guy. That's a great song, but everybody knows the Mom Spaghetti.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
My number 5 is The Prestige.
Ooh, yes.
Dude,
love it.
And most of it is just that very, very end scene.
Yeah.
But I do love the climax of that movie, pretty much from when he comes back to London and like sets up the whole show again. Dude.
Yeah, that's good.
I think the real question is that AJ's number 1?
Probably.
It's actually not. It's actually not.
Oh.
Is it The Dark Knight Rises?
It's actually not. Number 4.
Number 4, AJ. The Prestige.
Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises, bro. The ending of Dark Knight Rises is so good.
Ending of Rises.
So hold on. Is it where Alfred sees him at the cafe thing?
Literally. So from whenever he takes the bomb out of the thing, and he
flies away,
Commissioner Gordon is like, "I want to know who you are," whatever he says, and he's like, "You're just like the guy who put the coat on the little boy's shoulders." Like, what? And so he figures out it's Bruce Wayne. So then he flies off, and you just see the bomb explode. And you don't really know what happens.
Well, you think he dies?
You assume he dies,
yeah.
like for sure. And then it cuts back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
He fixed the autopilot.
And he's like, he fixed the autopilot. Commissioner
away all
Gordon
this stuff.
he gives away all the stuff. Commissioner Gordon builds the statue in Gotham City. And
Cool
then
statue.
Robin goes to the Batcave.
Yeah.
And it's and Alfred's in the cafe. Now, all those things are spliced together for like 5 minutes in a row.
Yep.
And at the very, very end, the music starts to build, and Alfred starts looking around, and Robin swings into the thing, and the thing starts to rise, and it cuts, and it's him and Anne Hathaway. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Dude, this is such a good movie. And then the thing rises, and then as it rises, the screen goes to black, and it's just so good. Such a good movie.
Very good.
That's such a good movie. I love that movie.
It's a good movie. It's not better.
Dark Knight
than
is
Dark
really
Knight.
Or
flipping
Batman
good.
Begins.
I'm not saying Dark Knight is.
Ooh.
That is as close to heresy as you've ever said on the show.
My number 4, we're gonna
Number 4.
No, go for it. Back to the Future.
Dark Knight.
go some Mr. Miyagi here, the Karate Kid.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Heck
the,
yeah.
the whole
Explain
fight
yourself.
at the end and stuff, where like he's going through,
Daniel-san.
he's moving through the ranks of the people. He gets to the
Yep.
part where they sweep the leg, and they sweep the leg. He's injured. Oh no! But he comes out. What does he do?
He crane kicks
pose.
that.
The
Ooh.
crane.
Yeah, gets him.
Got him.
Finishes it.
Dude, that's a good
And
movie.
what's that epic song they're playing the whole time too?
Oh,
Eye of the Tiger.
no, that's Rocky.
I'm just kidding. I've
No,
only
it's
seen this movie once.
I don't remember.
Back in Black.
You're the best. It's like you're the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All that. Such a good movie.
Good stuff,
Good
man.
ending.
I just for a little call out to Luke, I did almost put Back to the Future on this list
Interesting.
because the ending of Back to the
I
Future
still can't believe
is good.
that Back to the Future, bro. Oh,
But my
gosh.
number 4 is Scarface.
Ooh, okay.
Dude, the end of that movie from the whole where the guys are coming to kill Tony Montana, dude, pristine. Say hello to my little friend.
Love
Yeah.
it.
Classic ending scene, good death scene, Pacino.
Dude, good stuff. Number 3 for me is a little movie called Inception. Bro.
Don't talk about it too much.
Bro,
I haven't seen it yet.
this
Are
movie is
3,
so
2, and 1
good.
Or 4, 3, 2, and 1 all gonna be
Oh
Chris
my
Nolan?
gosh, Luke has never
Interstellar's
seen
number
this.
2.
Luke has never seen this movie,
He has not seen this
and
movie.
I don't want to
I'm
talk
not.
about the end, but
Don't
the
talk
ending of
about
this
it.
movie is so good.
I will walk up and
My
leave this
friends and I
podcast.
still argue about how this movie ends.
Dude,
to
nah.
this day,
That's
I will
fair.
argue with anyone on the planet how this movie ends. And
It's
I
very
want to talk
fair.
about it a lot, but Luke's
I'm not gonna
not
allow
a very
it.
cultured
Not gonna
person.
allow it.
So Luke watches indie movies instead of watching like.
Protect the block, son.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't talk about Inception because it's
You all know how it ends, and you know
Classified.
what he's talking about.
so good.
Yeah.
Is it not amazing?
Except it's very
It's
cool.
amazing.
It's very cool.
Literally, whenever I teach my kids how to end a story in school, I use this movie as an example. Just saying.
All right, Luke.
So you're teaching them all to leave it on a cliffhanger?
100%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Set yourself up for a sequel.
No joke. Like, why not, bro? Write yourself some more money. Come on.
My next movie
Number 3.
is one you guys already talked about. Back to the Future.
Dude, yes. Dude, it's so good, man.
So from the
Lord.
moment,
From
like,
88 miles an hour to
oh god, that movie's good, man. Like whenever they're at the dance and like they're in the car and then he's up on stage and the picture's fading and he's
Dude.
having to play and he's trying to get his parents to meet and kiss and then he has to fly out of there, get in the DeLorean and get back to the future. Doc's up there, you know, plugging stuff on top of the clock. And
dude, no kidding. Was
Yeah.
that like not the most tense moment every time you watch the movie?
every time you watch, you're like, you don't
Like-
know if he's gonna make it, but you know
you
he
really
makes
don't.
it.
You really don't.
And like that is such a good ending. Oh my gosh.
Where
It
did you
gets
have this ranked in your top 25?
3. Oh wait, the movie? The movie's in like top 10 for sure.
Ugh.
The movie's a good movie.
Dude, I will agree. It is good. It is good stuff.
Yep. That's my number 3.
No comment.
My number 3 is the movie we're talking about tonight.
Ooh, okay.
Departed.
The Departed.
The last hour and a half or the last hour?
The last 3 hours.
Yeah, the whole 2.5 hour movie.
The build up from the point where
Is
the
the
build up
best.
stops. From that point forward.
No, so I was trying to think about it, how what actually I would consider the end.
I feel like when
And
Martin Sheen gets thrown off the building, that to
see,
me is where like
That's kind of the climax, but I
you think
think
before that.
I think for me, how I classify the very best end is from the scene with oh my god, DiCaprio and Damon on the roof, and like he's telling him how it's gonna go down.
Before that.
I'm taking you to jail, and from then on,
Yeah, that makes sense.
that's the end to me.
I got you.
But yeah, we'll talk much more about it. But like
Good stuff.
that's good stuff to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and especially, I mean, the last scene of the movie, it's my boy.
That's your
Dude.
boy.
Yeah,
my
I got
my
some,
homie.
I got some thoughts on that. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. I do like that. The last little bit of that movie. Number 2, right?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Number
Interstellar.
2 is
No. This is Prestige.
Prestige.
Return of the King.
Oh, what?
Return of the
Wait.
King.
Prestige isn't on your list?
Return of the King.
He
is
lied.
number
Prestige
2.
is number
For
1.
sure.
I totally lied. Number 2 is Return of the King, and for me, the ending of
What?
this movie is like.
You mean like,
just- I don't know where it starts.
okay.
I have no idea where the ending starts.
The whole movie's basically the end.
Like literally, the whole third movie is the ending, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to get technical, I guess they like from whenever they attack the Black Gate from there on
Okay.
is the end. If you want to get real specific, you could go from where like they enter Mount Doom from there on.
I gotcha.
Or even after the ring is destroyed from there on. Any of those 3 places for me is the end.
I agree. Yeah.
But dude,
Yeah.
like literally, people are always like, "This movie lasts so long, and it blah blah blah." The ending like happens like 7 times, and I
but-
was like, "Your
Yeah.
point?"
And your point
I was
is?
like, "What's wrong with any of those things you just said?" So I'm always like, "That's my answer to the
God, I
people
love
who
that
hate
movie.
it." Oh, dude,
Oh,
like
so
literally,
good.
just like dagger to the heart 7 different times over and over. It's so good. Anyway, I could talk about the movie forever.
Number 2,
Number 2.
Luke.
I mean, like, I actually can't remember.
Oh.
Back
Whiplash.
to the Future 2. Oh,
Dude.
that's a good ending. That is a solid.
So, okay.
The drum solo. You're talking
When,
about like
when
that
we're at
scene
the concert,
exclusively.
he starts going on his own, and then
He
at
goes
first,
rogue.
Yeah, he goes
When he goes
rogue,
rogue,
and
yeah. The
J.K.
car crash
Simmons
on,
is
honestly,
like-
from the car crash on, I think is like
yeah,
that.
the
is-
building up to
yeah.
the yeah.
But for sure, whenever he like says like "f you" basically and starts going for
And
it.
J.K. Simmons first is like, "What the heck?" But he kind of realizes what's happening,
Yeah.
and then it's like he tells him keep
Yeah,
going,
it's
and that's so cool.
Dude, and earlier in the movie, he talked about like the greatest solo of all time or whatever he says, and so that obviously.
And
like,
so
that's,
there's
like,
a lot
iconic.
of there's some foreshadowing callback stuff, and then
stuff.
like having. Because I think there's such a relationship built between those two characters, and
Yeah.
for them to kind of,
Yeah.
That's a
and the
really
whole
good
movie,
movie.
they've kind of been butting heads, and for in that moment at first it's it's like what the heck, but then it's like Simmons is like, oh my gosh, like this is happening, like
Well, and they both stab each other in the back
yes,
in that scene.
Yes.
Like he did it with the music sheet earlier, gave him the wrong music, and
Yep.
then he does it to like basically sabotage the whole show.
yeah,
So it's like they got back, and so now they're even.
but then it kind of
And
brings
then
them together
yeah,
at the end,
for
and
sure.
oh my gosh, that
Well, and it's a
ending's so
callback to the
good.
very first the movie, because the very, very first scene, he walks down the hallway, and it's
Yep.
him doing the drum roll, slowly building up to it. So
Yep.
it's the same idea. Great ending. I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. My number 2 is Pulp Fiction.
Oh,
The
nice.
diner
When
scene,
he walks
bro.
out of the
Diner
diner. Yeah.
scene.
The diner scene, bro. Just
Yeah.
that whole the second half of the diner scene of
Yeah.
when they're sitting there talking about how he's quitting the business and all this, and and then the Tim Roth,
Tim Roth.
yeah, and his character like starts to rob the place and everything, and then the get my wallet out of there. It's the one that says "bad mother,"
Yeah,
dude, and then
Samuel
just the
Jackson
whole
is so
ending
good.
of that. Yeah, that's prime Sam Jackson for me.
So good.
I love that whole, and then they walk out, and you're just like, wait, that's the end,
Well, then obviously we know that.
right?
What happens,
And I think the whole weird like time space continuum of that movie, because I mean,
Such
obviously,
a
like
Tarantino thing to do.
yeah.
Golly. Yeah. It's a good one. Number 1 for me. The Prestige. 100%. To me, this is like,
I haven't heard of this movie.
dude. Dude. It's so good.
I haven't heard of this movie,
So good.
even though
did.
we both have already
Hey,
said
is
it.
this the only movie all 3 had it?
It's
Yeah.
my honorable mentions.
That's what I'm saying. It's the only,
Well, I mean, we've all three said it.
that's
Yeah.
the only one we've all three mentioned. I mean, that.
Well, here's
that's-
AJ's argument
that
for
speaks-
why.
that speaks for itself.
It's undeniably a great
That
ending.
speaks for
Undeniable.
itself.
Now, okay, I know
all
I
you-
clarified a little bit. Are you talking about the very, very end?
For me,
or...
I agree with you. I think whenever he goes back to London from there on is fantastic. The ending,
I think it's when Jackman shows up at the prison cell.
I think the prison scene from then on would be the ending.
Yeah.
If you want to get real technical, you could say whenever he hangs and he gets hanged.
Oh, yeah.
From then on would
Yeah.
be the ending. But I love, dude, that last 5 minutes whenever they're talking back and forth and they both reveal their tricks and then they're like, who paid the higher price and all that stuff. And then it just cuts and he like backs out and the camera fades out. Literally, like I say all the time, or at least I've said it a bunch of times on the show, the only movie I've ever watched twice in a row, boom, 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 because of that ending. That's the whole reason why. So I thought about not putting it number one. I was like, bro, it's got to be number one.
I knew when I was
didn't-
coming up with this, I was like, oh, this is AJ's.
I didn't put Interstellar on there. That hurt my soul a little
Wow.
bit.
Not even our own mention.
But I honestly, if I had to choose between like the three Chris Nolan movies that I put on there, which movie is Interstellar better than? It's not. I mean,
Okay.
the ending isn't as good.
He's
as
good
these
at endings. There's no doubt.
dude.
No doubt.
He's good at.
He's good at everything,
He is
okay,
good at
Luke?
everything, but Memento's ending is
know.
also really, really solid.
I do want to watch that. That's on my
Strong.
list of something
Strong.
I'm probably going to watch
That
next
is a
week.
strong ending. I almost included that one, but I didn't want to have like an exclusively Chris Nolan list. You know?
You could have, though,
I
couldn't
could have.
you?
I literally
That
could
would've
have.
been easy.
No problem. Number one. I'm
My
interested
number
to hear
one
your
is
thoughts.
Jaws.
Wow.
So the boat
Oh,
scene.
we need a bigger
Okay.
boat.
Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat, and
Wow.
yeah, there's the boat's deteriorating around him as Jaws is
Interesting.
coming in.
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
gets eaten and stuff, and he's up there and sees
Oh.
the tank in
Yeah.
its mouth and blows it, and
Yeah.
that is some fine craftsmanship there by old Spielberg.
Old Spielberg.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Dude, that's good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though MythBusters busted that it wouldn't actually like
Wouldn't.
blow up like that, but
Yeah.
Hey.
still a very good movie
It's just
ending.
a movie. I mean, do
and
cars
dude,
ever blow up the way cars blow up in movies?
that's fair.
I don't know. Some of those air tanks blew up a house in my old neighborhood.
What?
Like, no doubt.
No.
No lie. Burnt the place to the ground.
Dang. Dude, I will say with that ending of that movie, the scene where I can't remember his name, but the dude that's like the boat captain gets eaten.
Yeah.
When the first time I ever saw that movie, I was like probably 15 or 16. That like legit, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
is very good. Anyway, my number one is
Star Wars Episode 3.
Oh, boy.
I almost included that one.
is Joker.
Oh, okay.
I
So-
thought
That's a
about
good
that
one.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
It is
That's a good
from the where he goes to on the Maury show on.
Yeah. From there
Yeah.
on.
That that whole progression, the whole where he fully devolves into the Joker.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, the best part of it is where he stands up on the hood of the cop car and puts the blood smile.
That's where the movie should have ended, in my opinion.
I
I think
think
that'd have been a great ending.
I kind of agree with you. I do understand, or I think I understand maybe a bit of why they did the other scene, but I think the only reason to put that stuff in Arkham or wherever at the very end, I mean, maybe to show he devolves even more because he killed the psychiatrist or whatever, but would be if you had that as if you were trying to set up something else, like
Yeah.
another movie or a sequel. or
That
something.
was such a like you said, such a great
Yeah, I
image
think
to end on. Like,
that
that's
him standing
so
on the
strong.
cop car.
Yeah, so
All right,
strong.
if you want, send me a downloadable link to the movie. I'll cut out that last bit, add a fade, and then it'll be a good
100%.
Dude.
Dude, like
At
literally,
the
I was
end,
like,
we'll
this
go
is a
straight to
fantastic
credits.
ending. Oh.
Well, I mean,
what is this other scene
it
they
does
added
end
on
with
here?
Sinatra, so I can't
No,
say we
I-
got to cut Sinatra out of the
I know,
out
but
of the
like,
deal.
dude, they had such a great
It was
ending.
interesting, but
No, it is interesting. And it's interesting. Like, it brings
Yeah.
up a lot of different theories and stuff.
Yeah.
But good stuff.
All
That's
right.
a fun list.
it was a good one.
Good list.
Oh, to our movie review?
To
Yeah,
the movie
let's do
review of The Departed.
Ooh, yay!
Sir.
So
Yep.
for the longest time before I'd watched this movie, I knew that Mark Wahlberg is in it, and I thought Matt Damon was Mark Wahlberg in that picture.
Dude, they look alike in like all the
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, a little bit. All right, so synopsis: an undercover co-op, if you're saying it the right way,
Co-op.
Caught.
and a mole in the police attempt to identify each other while infiltrating an Irish gang in South Boston.
Boston.
How much money did it make? Or what's
You're
the
skipping
score?
ahead.
Scores.
2006, directed by Martin Scorsese. We've kind of, we got Leo, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Martin Sheen.
Alec
Alec Baldwin.
dude.
There's somebody else in there. I know it. But yeah, it's insane how many.
Mark
people are.
Wahlberg's brother Bob is in it. He
yeah.
plays the FBI agent.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Bad time,
budget
Bob.
of $90 million. Earnings, 291.
Interesting.
So, this is, again,
That's
only
pretty- that's
theater.
pretty decent.
It's lower than I thought it would be for that number of.
2006.
Well, I know, but for that number of
It was a
all-star-
high budget, though,
all-star
for me.
cast.
It was.
Well, that's probably why. It was because of the casting.
No joke.
I bet you Jack Nicholson?
Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson probably got like $5 million or something or other. To
I
do this
read
movie.
on IMDb that I think it was either half or more than half the budget was contracts.
Casting.
Mhm.
That doesn't surprise
Yeah.
me.
Well, that's what surprises me, that the gross box office is so low, because if you have this many actors in a movie like that, it usually gets.
Does seem a little low. That's
of
fair. Ratings: IMDb 8.5, Rotten Tomatoes 91,
Wow.
Metacritic 85.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just 1 point higher than Attack the Block.
Nice. My gosh.
This is gonna be Luke's.
Lord have mercy.
That's awesome. Anyway,
How many people have rated it? Like 12?
Attack the Block? I can check really quick. Do you want me to see?
No, I'm just kidding. But you can if you want to.
No, I'm doing it anyways.
Did it win any awards?
I don't know. I didn't actually look that
I thought
up.
it was nominated. I didn't.
I
know
feel
if
like it
won.
was nominated, but I don't
anything.
think it won anything either.
I think DiCaprio was nominated for supporting because they wanted him to win, and they didn't think he would win lead.
176 critics.
176,
Critics.
not 1,000.
33,000 fans, though.
176. Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying. I was like, 176 people rated this movie.
No.
Okay,
yeah,
no, I got,
critics,
I
and
got,
then, yeah.
I got you. Okay, Metacritic said 91, or what you said?
No,
Rotten
90
Tomatoes.
was for Rotten
Okay.
Tomatoes.
Anyway, whatever.
I gave you the
That's
Metacritic.
crazy.
Hold on.
No, I'm with you. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's your John
The movie's
Boyega.
not that great.
That's
It's
your
a
John
good
Boyega-
movie, but
Your
I'm
John
just,
Boyega movie
Yeah,
yeah, John Boyega.
Finn.
with the alien blue mouth thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, if you got like literally, I just typed in like movies that are an hour and a half long, because that's like I didn't have enough time to watch. I was gonna watch Doctor Sleep,
Oh yeah.
but I didn't have enough time, and so I was like that. But that's actually been on my watch list for a long time. So
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
anything else, shall we?
Shall we?
Shall we? Okay, Departed. Section 1, idea/premise. For me, I said it was a cool idea, solid premise, but it takes too long. Personally, it takes too long for me to set it up. It's the payoff is worth it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's like, oh, I'm gonna turn this movie off right now.
yeah,
It just takes a little bit too long. There's a lot of exposition early, a lot of backstory early, especially with Matt Damon's character, which I don't really think you need quite that much. I understand why they're doing it, trying to get you to feel that like father-son relationship between him and Jack Nicholson.
but you don't really. I don't think you really feel that through the rest of the
But
movie.
you don't feel it the rest of the movie. He feels very isolated and very
Really?
like.
I didn't get it.
I feel like he's being used the whole time.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, you could have told that storyline a lot quicker. I don't know. But anyway, the idea of a mole and a mole isn't really that original. But the idea of them both being assigned by their new departments to find the person in their old department, that to me was really fascinating, really interesting, and it works. I mean, really, really well. Obviously, we'll talk about that more in plot, I guess. But for me, the idea behind the movie, cop robber movie, classic, archetype for a movie.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cliche in that sense of the word, but they flipped it on its head a little bit and kind of added this new thing in there. So I gave it an 8. It wasn't really amazing, but it was solid, a little bit above average for me. Like I said, solid score. I think an 8 is pretty fair. Does some really, really good things in this section. It hurts a little bit for me personally. The biggest pain in this section is the length of the setup. What do you think? What do you think, Luke?
I'm gonna agree with you. I give it an 8 as well.
Oh boy.
Nice.
So I really liked the, like we said, like kind of two people working against each other. I'm trying to, find each other the whole time. I thought that was a really fun thing, and all the instances where they came close or whatever, they were in this, So I thought I gave it an 8, pretty much based solely on that. trying to see what else I said. I mean, you don't like you said, you see the cop and robber stuff, but then all of a sudden, like they flipped it on its head. They made it so different to where it's like, oh wow, it's like it's something familiar, but it
it
feels
keeps you on your toes because you're
different.
not sure who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, and where they are. You know, in a traditional cop and robber movie, you're like, oh, they're the good guys, they're the bad guys, they're chasing these guys, and these guys are trying to kill these guys or whatever. And this movie, that kind of flips it on your head. So you gotta pay attention more. Got to try to figure people's out, like their motivations and stuff out a little bit more. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Paul?
What'd you think, Paul?
Yeah, so I also gave the section an 8.
Oh, nice.
Wowzers.
All in agreement.
But yeah, I like you guys said it a lot. Really the only thing I want to add is just the whole opening scene. And after watching it, I was like, man, I could have had this in my best opens too, because I love the opening scene with Nicholson kind of just talking through.
Well, he's like 8 or 10, something like that. Oh, you're talking about before that.
No. Like when Jack Nicholson's talking,
the voiceover.
He's doing the voiceover, and he's like, and it's when
he's like little.
Sullivan's character is a kid, and he's like in the store and everything. But at the same time, Jack Nicholson's like doing all this, talking about like how things are in Boston. But I love how, in every shot of Jack Nicholson, he's in the dark.
Yeah. I noticed that.
Until he walks out at the very end when he
to introduce
talks and he says when you're staring down the barrel of a loaded gun, what's the difference of being a bad, like whether you're a cop or on the other side? And that's one of my favorite lines too, is like, what's the difference?
Yeah. He's a great bad guy.
Oh, so good. Costello.
And we'll talk about character here in a second. We can jump right in if you want to right now. It's our next section. But yeah, I think the introduction of the characters is solid. Like,
very good.
So solid. And to me, so I knocked at some points in setup and premise, or idea and premise, for the length of the setup. But I guess I gave those points back in character, if that makes sense. So I gave character a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Nice.
I loved every one of the lead characters in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
DiCaprio, Damon, Wahlberg, Nicholson, Sheen. I even liked Baldwin.
Yeah, he was a funny add-on.
He's a good little side character. But, dude, like, DiCaprio's character, for one, like, just, like, you feel so bad for him because he's in such a hard situation. Like, mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
Like, trying to keep, like, your identity the way, like, you actually are as a human being. But also, like, having to be, like, on edge all the time because you literally could get killed any moment.
Was he
it's crazy?
The best character in the movie?
Nicholson, to me, is the most dominant. If you were to say who carries the movie, for me, he's the one who carries the weight of the movie. Doesn't necessarily. No. Nicholson. For me, I don't necessarily think he's the best character, though. I would say DiCaprio's character is the most interesting.
I agree with that.
But I think Nicholson's carries more weight.
I think you're right, yeah.
If that makes sense. You see my point?
No, yeah.
And then Damon's character, for me, is the least interesting.
I hated his character.
And you're supposed to hate
I think that's the point.
I mean, you're supposed to,
hate
but I legit hated
But his
him.
character is the least... I liked him as, like, his role in the movie as being the bad guy inside. And, like, his two-face nature, you know, trying to manipulate the situation.
Yeah.
And he's very good at it, obviously. So I liked his character for that reason. He was just the most flat character.
He was.
In my opinion.
He was basically the same the entire time.
He was
roughly the
he was
same.
all emotions.
Yeah.
He was where he would either get really, really scared or really angry, or it was like he was bipolar almost.
Well, and he was so, like, I don't know, like, unhealthy, I guess is the word for it. Like you said, bipolar is a good word for it. He was just, like, mad all the time, either at himself, at his girlfriend, at his boss, or whatever. And it was just like, but whatever. He's a good bad guy. Martin Sheen's really interesting because he, like, actually cares about DiCaprio's character, wants to get him out of the situation, but he knows he needs him in the situation. So he's interesting.
Almost like a fatherly figure.
He's somewhat the anti-thesis of Nicholson.
Yeah.
He's the same character on the opposite side.
Yeah.
The same way that Damon and DiCaprio are opposites.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. Those four characters kind of, you know, weighing each other. And then Wahlberg's character for me is one of the most interesting.
Dignam.
Yeah, he's kind of the comic relief, but he's also kind of the like
a
wild card. You're just like, I don't know.
He's the no bullshitter Boston
Yeah.
police officer.
When he walks in there and he starts talking with the FBI agent, like slams his hand on the desk, and then he walks out, and Alba's like, "Oh, you should see him when he's in a good day or something, or see him on his bad day or something like that." Mm-hmm. And
He's
everybody
like,
starts,
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, so anyway, I enjoyed all of those characters.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Damon the least and DiCaprio the most. But I think that's how it's supposed to be. Because DiCaprio's the good guy and Damon's the bad guy. So I think Nicholson is a fantastic bad guy. I love him a lot. So I give character 10 out of 10. There's really nothing bad for me to say about character. I think DiCaprio's character was so interesting because of the development. He starts out as a good cop, wants to do his job, kind of. He's kind of a, I don't know, non-responsive hero at the very beginning.
Yeah.
He's just kind of there.
He wanted to do his job until they figured out this whole backstory to him.
I feel like they talk about his IQ being really, really high. Yeah. And they never really use that in the
Except
movie.
for when he has to spell citizens.
Yeah. But like...
That's not how you spell citizens.
But like, I just feel like they could have used that a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah, I like that. I think so too.
But that's really the only thing I can think about.
I got you.
Like, but 10 out of 10 feels totally fine for me. I have no problem giving it 10 out of 10.
So this section was weird for me. This is my lowest rated section.
Interesting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I gave this section. I almost wanted to give it an 8, but then I thought about it. I ended up giving it a 6.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
So when I think about it, I think the length of the movie might have played a little bit of a role in this.
Okay.
So I like the characters, but I think there came a point where I almost became tired of the characters. Because they threw him in. I think Leo's character was definitely the most dynamic. He had the most sides to him, the most struggle, the most internal conflict, the most this, most that. I think he was the most interesting by far. I agree with AJ in saying that Nicholson's character was probably, the biggest presence on screen.
He's for sure the biggest presence on screen. I think he's the driving force of the movie. Like, wherever he goes, everybody goes. Wherever he leads, everybody leads.
Well, he's the instigator. Like,
he's the goal of the
movie.
movie.
None of this would have ever taken place
saying.
if it wasn't for him.
He carries the weight of the plot.
He's the main point.
Yeah.
But for the rest of them, I don't know. Like, I became bored of Damon's character. Like, at first I could feel it. I was with it, and by the end I was like, he didn't change enough for me to really stay interested in him. Yeah, I liked Leo's character. The girlfriend I thought was more interesting than Damon's character. I don't know why.
Yeah, the psychiatrist lady, I didn't talk about her at all. The love triangle thing is interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, not that much.
No.
It's interesting for DiCaprio, for me, because that's, like, the only human contact he has, right? I mean, realistically.
Yeah.
As he can be himself.
Right.
Because she knows he's a cop. Or
no.
She doesn't know. She doesn't even know that.
No.
Because she knows he's just an ex-convict.
Yep.
Right? Because it's court mandated.
Yep.
So I forgot about that. But yeah, so she's, like, the only normal person he can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, she's interesting. Her dating Damon, for me, was like, that was just another added drama thing because it's a love triangle. But
yeah,
I didn't really do anything for me.
Well, I don't know if you're supposed to. At the end, she's pregnant, and you're like, you're not. I'm not sure. So I'm like, is this supposed to make me feel anything, or?
I have thoughts on that, and maybe a meta question. So.
Okay. But yeah, for me, obviously, I was interested in Leo's character the whole time. I think he should have had more screen time. I mean, he had a lot as it is, but I'm like, I wish we
should have had more focus.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with that. I mean, it's hard though because you give him too much and it devalues the bad guys, and the bad guys are kind of like
That's
it's
true.
the whole point of the movie. So it's like, but he is a bad guy.
Are there too many characters then?
Dude, it's hard. It is hard. That was one of my thoughts. Was there are too many good actors. Like, there's so many good actors. Like, you want to give them all as much screen time as possible.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't really do that. So.
I think that might be my two issues with this movie. Then is length that tells to get stuff like what you've talked about already.
Yeah.
And then there might be. I think there's too many characters to keep up with.
So for me, like the first hour, I'm in it because I like the movie. Like this movie's in my top 25. Like I like this movie a lot.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm in. I don't care. But still, like if I'm being objective, I'm like the first hour is like, meh. The last hour and a half, I'm all in. Let's go.
Oh, for sure,
100%. But I think it's a little bit what you're saying. Too many good actors which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I think it hurts the movie. And then too many characters hurts the movie also. I'm trying to set them all up.
Yeah.
At least trying to set them all equally. Like the only 3 characters who really need that much setup are Damon, DiCaprio, and Nicholson.
Yes.
Everybody else doesn't really need that much. But I don't know. I want to hear Paul's thoughts though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gave this section a 9. Mainly, the main reasons I docked it was I do agree, there are too many characters that they seem to focus on a little too much, but I do feel like your main focus is still on the main 3, Costello, Costigan, and Sullivan, Nicholson, DiCaprio, and Damon. And so I feel like, that's the big focus of it. But like, yeah, a lot of the side characters, I really liked the goons, Costello's goons, French, and
French is a good bad guy.
a
good side
those other like side guys, and like when the one actually ends up getting shot and kind of saving him and all this kind of stuff. But I really did not like the shrink at all. Like the lady, the girlfriend, the whatever. And so I just thought that there was really, yes, I agree. She's really his only, really the only thing keeping him sane.
She's his outlet.
Yeah, his outlet. So there's a point there, but I felt like she got too much focus.
Yeah, I agree.
So those are, too many characters. That's my reason for dropping it a point. But I mean, I felt like certain characters got a little too much, like the shrink, whereas I really thought certain characters got the right amount for me, like Queenan, Martin Sheen's character, and
just about right.
Wahlberg, and I love them together,
Right?
Like their whole, like, because he's
Good
like
cop,
the
bad cop kind of thing.
or the quiet one and the really loud
He
one.
tells him to shut up all the time. He doesn't listen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the Alec Baldwin's character. That kind of stuff. Yeah. So I really, for me, I felt like the balance of side character focus, yet still having a heavy main character focus was really good.
Real quick, favorite character? Wahlberg? I mean, selfishly, yeah.
Selfishly. But no, I would say my favorite character is Jack Nicholson because, I mean, I really like a good bad guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And so for me, if the bad guy is really good, I know that sounds weird.
Solid,
really well
strong.
acted, really,
Yeah.
Things like that. It kind of drives my love of the movie to where, because I like movies where, it's kind of the anti-hero, things like that. I know that's not this movie, but like I like those types of movies.
Yeah.
So I love a good bad guy. So yeah, he's my favorite. Least favorite would be the Shrink.
Okay.
Favorite character?
Leo.
Okay, I agree. For me, it's him and Nicholson. Those are the 2 that I like a lot. I like Wahlberg a lot. He's funny. Every time he's on screen, I'm like, let's go. Okay, plot. For me, plot was the lowest section that I rated. Like I said, I loved the last bit of the plot from the middle on, a little bit earlier than the middle. First half, there's not a whole lot of plot going. It's just kind of still set up. It's a lot of this person got to sneak in here, this person got to sneak in here, and then let the plot develop. So for that reason, I don't really feel like the plot starts for a while. At least not really starts for a while.
Yeah.
And then I'm not personally a huge fan of the very ending of the movie. The climax to a certain point, which we can talk about now or later if you want to save it.
No, I mean,
So the very ending, like in his apartment? Or like whenever everyone's getting shot up in that abandoned building?
From that point on, I feel like they took the easy way out and just killed everybody. Like, I feel like that was the easiest solution to the plot problem. If that
okay.
Like, I gave it a 7, so it's not like I don't really dislike it.
Okay. Yeah.
Could have been better, though.
It could, for me personally, I felt like it was a cop-out. It's kind of like when a comedian sets up a really funny joke, and then the punchline's like the F word, and you're like, it's a funny joke, and you like it's good, but like have some more creativity. Like you've already had all this creativity. Like I don't know. I just felt like there could have been something else that happens, or something else that ended a different way.
Would it made you feel better if Leo got like his identity back?
Well,
and then
I didn't care that Leonardo DiCaprio died necessarily. Like I don't mind when the main character dies. I think sometimes it's a good twist to add to
Yeah.
a story. I would have preferred not everyone. I don't really care who. Like the fact that Wahlberg survives, obviously, is like that's one of your 6 characters.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. I just felt like
Is it the way they kill him? Like, because
No,
they kill him
not-
without like.
well, maybe
There's
I
no
don't-
big like build up to the kill. It's just like boom, they're dead.
Yeah, maybe it's a little quick. It's really. I'm making it sound like it's a really big deal
Like
for me.
Tarantino esque.
It is very Tarantino-esque, but it's also like in the
I don't
real
know.
life situation. If that were a real life situation, like what else do you think's going to happen? Like, eventually they're all going to kill each other. Like that's
Right.
the only outcome that really is plausible.
Exactly.
So I see that side of things, but like if we're not being realistic, we're taking it from like a movie perspective or a storyline perspective, and you can tell the story however you want. Personally, I would have liked the writer to have a little bit more creativity, I guess is what I'm saying. But I only knocked it down a point for that, or 2, I guess, for that, and then 1 for the beginning being slow.
Okay, so I think
A
I might
7
see
for
the
me
cop out part
is
you're
good.
talking about. So
I just, like, okay, let's say The Walking Dead lasts for 10 seasons.
yeah,
And then the very last episode of the last season, they kill everybody, except for one character. Like, I don't know. I just feels like...
I think it was building up to that. I don't think there was. I think
Yeah, no, I feel that too.
maybe there wasn't enough build up in certain areas. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's
the cop
possible.
out, I think, might be one of the parts that you're talking about. Is so they kill what's the black guy's name? The black cop.
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah,
Anthony Anderson. They
yeah.
kill Anthony Anderson, and then the white guy comes in, his Damon's like partner,
Yeah.
and shoots somebody,
The undercover guy.
and he's like,
The
He
other
shoots-
rat.
He shoots, yeah.
he's
yeah.
like, what do you think? You only had one mole in the
He shoots
cop,
DiCaprio.
which makes
No, Anthony Anderson shoots DiCaprio.
You're right. You're
Matt
right.
Damon shoots Anthony
You're
Anderson
right. In the back.
in the head.
Yeah.
And then pretty much everybody gets shot in the head. Anyway, and then this other guy comes in and Damon shoots him also.
Yeah. And then Wahlberg shoots Damon.
Yes.
yeah. So,
And
but
Sheen gets thrown off a building.
but the white guy coming in and been like, do you think there's only one mole? I was like, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I just wish there was like a line in there somewhere in the movie. Like they didn't have to make it obvious. She's been like, could have said like something along the lines of that. There was more than just Damon in the police force. I think to me, it's like all of a sudden it's like all this.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, well, hey, I'm a mole
Yeah.
too. Hey, I'm this too. I'm this too.
I don't think the other cop was. I think the first cop was a good cop.
Well,
He
yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah,
doing
yeah.
His job.
Oh yeah, Anthony. Well, that's why Leo called him
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
was just doing.
because he was
knew
the
him.
only other person
Well,
who knew who he was.
He knew him from before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the very
from
beginning
Academy.
of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I want to hear your thoughts because I'm sure you think differently than I do.
Wait, have
Well,
I said
I'm gonna
my-
say
did I
we
say
skipped
my-
him, Luke?
Sorry.
Um,
Well, I meant we were talking about.
We
the-
sort of
the very,
started talking
about
the
the
same-
very ending. Yeah.
I give this section a 7.
Huh? 7?
I think he said so.
7. This is plot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We started talking about characters for a little bit, and I got a little sidetracked.
Yeah.
I give plot a 7. So I think I said they did a good job converging stuff at the end. I felt pretty natural, but there was a little part that felt a little rushed. I think, like it was all of a sudden like, here we go.
I know. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Like there was so much build up, and the plot was really, really strong, and then we just like
Then all these like dominoes started
Fell
falling really
off.
quickly, and
I don't know.
because for a while it did feel pretty like staggering. It's like when
Yeah.
like dominoes again. Like you have
Well,
a bunch
from
of
when
good
Martin
like spaced
Sheen
out ones,
dies,
and then at the end
yeah.
there's like 10 right here crunched together.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of felt like that in a way.
It's very Tarantino-esque. That slow burn leading up to kind of a
Yeah.
giant. Yeah. I mean,
I said there were some weird time skips. Like,
Mm.
there's that point where they're under the bridge. He's like, I've been doing this for a year. And I was like, holy crap, it's been a
Yeah.
year?
Yeah.
Like, I thought like a month.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
So there
They
was
tried to
some-
do a montage in there somewhere where he's like with them a lot and doing stuff a lot. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't quite.
But then you
convey
don't
that amount
know
of
how much
time.
time's passed. You're
Yeah.
like, could this be days, hours? And then
Yeah.
like the psychiatrist is like, oh, we've been dating for 4 months. You're like, 4 months.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I
they're
feel
moving
that.
in, and then she's pregnant, and they've been dating for like 20 years, and they're gray hair, and
She was pregnant.
she got pregnant. Yeah, at the end, she told him showed him
Oh,
a
you
picture
didn't
of a
catch that?
ultrasound. When he's laying in
Oh.
bed and she wakes
And
him up,
she-
he's like, I thought I saw myself dying or whatever, his dream.
Yeah, and she hands him this photo, And she's
I do remember that now.
okay.
I remember that now.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
She's like, that little
I
speck
remember-
there, that's the penis.
No, I remember that now.
And
For
then
a second,
at,
I was like, what? I had
and then
no
at
idea what you're talking about.
Leo's funeral, he
Yes.
says, "What about the baby?"
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember
Okay.
that.
Now we got
Yeah,
AJ
so
caught
she's
up.
very
Yeah.
sad. I remember that. I remember that now.
It's been a couple weeks since you've seen it.
It has literally
it's
been
all right.
like almost a month since I've seen this.
Well,
movie.
that's fair.
I said some things felt like it needed a little bit more explaining. They did so much explaining of so many things, but then there's some stuff it's just kind of they threw in there.
Okay.
And you're like, huh, all right.
like
Like
what?
like they did it without being like, here's why.
Yeah.
Give me one example.
One example.
I mean, I agree with you.
I think one that pops into my head is the shrink stuff. It's like all of a sudden they're meeting. They didn't be like, they
Yeah.
didn't tell them like, hey, you gotta go to shrink.
Well,
you're gonna see
Yeah, they
shrink.
did.
it
It was an early missable
Martin,
detail.
Martin
Okay.
Sheen
When he
says
was
that.
saying, "You're going to be convicted of a crime, you're going to do time, and then you're going to have to do court mandated therapy."
make it look
So,
legit.
Again, yeah, I've seen this movie a crap ton. So,
Yeah.
but yes,
No,
I understand.
I caught
There are a
that one.
lot of
Mm-hmm.
things you have to figure out watching or analyzing
Mm-hmm.
or whatever a lot. So I understand that.
Another one's maybe like the scene where he goes to like what is mom's house, grandma's house, and then his like
Oh,
cousin
the
shows
cousin,
up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like that stuff. There's like
Yeah.
That one was
there's
odd.
not a
I
whole lot
think
of
it's his aunt.
context. Stuff like that. I think there's some useless scenes as well. For instance, the one where you see Nicholson at the theater when he like him and his wife or whatever. Then it pans over. There's the other chick sitting next to him, and there's that weird like cocaine sex scene thing.
Yeah,
Which you're like, is there a point?
not really.
So I think there's a couple
Other
useless
than the show,
scenes.
he's a bad guy.
Right.
Mhm.
A couple of useless scenes like that in there. I said overall they did a good job of showing the two progress, but they took a long time doing that. But then a counterpoint, I guess, on the plot being long is I think this plot needs time as well.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's that slow burn idea. Like, it's such a long movie and such a long story, and there's so many characters, and there's so much happening, and there's all this setup and all this background. Like, it makes sense that it's a 2.5-hour movie. And the length itself doesn't necessarily bother me. Like, I
Yep.
watch long movies all the time. Like, some of my favorite movies of all time are really long movies. Endgame, Irishman, Return of the King, whatever. Like, Star Wars movies are even long sometimes. So, it doesn't bother me necessarily. I think, for me, it's just that first hour is a lot of the same exposition over and over and over and over and over. There's really very little action. So that's more of the problem for me, less than the length of time. But I agree with what you scored. You say you said
7.
7. I gave it a 7 too. What'd you give it?
So I gave the section a 10 out of 10.
All right.
So for me, a couple of things you said were really the big factors for me. The one you said most recently is it felt the time of the movie felt right. You know, because you really are going over their whole journey.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're seeing them
Excuse me.
we twitching this.
Little promotion here.
Okay. Anyway, you're seeing them from the academy to their death.
No,
So,
I'm
I mean,
with you. It's a very
um,
epic movie in scope.
It's an episodic.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And so, but the other thing that you said that it didn't really dawn on me until you said it was it's a very realistic feeling. Like you said, like you would think at the end, yeah, we're just gonna kill everybody. We're not gonna really, this is where the end goal would be. So I mean, why not? And as far as, I mean, you can just imagine that this would be, the cop's goal is to, get this guy, do it whatever we need to. We're going to get a mole. We're going to send him in. We're going to figure all this stuff out, things like that. And it felt very real. I don't really know how else to say that, or explain that, but yeah, I just loved, some of the points you guys mentioned that I've now forgotten because I'm a little ADD sometimes, where I kind of had a little bit of an opposite take. Like,
How do you feel about the ending?
so the ending for me, yeah, that's a good way to go. With the ending for me, like I said, it was on one of my top 5 endings of all time.
No joke.
Yeah.
So and to me, I defined the ending as from where they're on the roof talking about I'm arresting you and we're going in. I'm taking you in.
Yeah.
To me, that's the part that felt too easy. Was I'm going to arrest you, I'm going to take you in, and that's a lot of these really weird puzzle pieces that you're just hoping are going to come together.
Yeah.
And so to me, I was very surprised that Anthony Anderson showed up and shot him.
Yeah.
Or wait a minute.
I was surprised they shot him.
It wasn't
It wasn't.
It was the white guy. It was the other guy. It was the other mole.
He was in the
You're right. I got it wrong.
He shot Anthony.
He was in
Anderson.
the elevator,
Yeah,
and he shot him.
that's right. You were right. I was wrong. Yeah, that was very surprising to me.
Because he's waiting for them when they come down the elevator.
You're right. You're right.
Because literally the door's open and
He
That's
gets
right.
shot, and then the other mole shoots Anthony Anderson, and he goes in there, and then
Yeah,
and he's digging around on it.
Damon shoots him.
Yep. I got that wrong. You guys got that right. But that was very surprising. But it also made sense to me because again, it was like this huge pipe dream that I was like, "There's no way this is going to actually work out." And it's one of those movies that you want to work out, but it doesn't, and you actually are like, "Yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah.
And so that's why I feel like all of the deaths very quickly didn't really bug me. Because again, you think of, well, if the plan isn't going to work, here's my goal of getting my life back and putting you in jail.
Yeah.
If it's not going to work, then the whole thing's going to fall apart.
Right.
So I felt like, and yeah, of course, Mark Wahlberg, killing him at the end and Matt Damon at the end was like a very big thing of, well, he's not going to go to jail because nobody else knows.
Yeah.
And I'm not a cop anymore. So I'm just going to kill him.
So, in the envelope that Leo gave
Haha.
Sarah, was that to give to Wahlberg's character?
We don't know. There's no, and that's it's fine. But it was one of my meta questions, but there's no explanation of what that was. And that's one of those things that's just left up to, and that is one of the things where I'm a little miffed about, but it wasn't enough to make me dock some points. Like I have 3 or 4 things that I've had for meta questions that are like that are never explained.
So I think that's my interpretation of the envelope is that he gave that to her to give to
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
That
That
would make sense because
he said what if in like 2 weeks he says either give it back to me or whatever or
I'll either
keep
get it or you'll open it and I'm dead.
yeah
It kind of thing.
So I think that's what it was. Like either he's gonna be live, he succeeded, and so obviously he would there's no point in the envelope at that point.
Right.
And if he died, then the envelope someone's like a contingency plan to be able to take care of Damon's character needed to be in place.
That's fair because at that point Mark Wahlberg wasn't like a cop, so he wouldn't have known. So
Yeah.
that's fair. I hadn't put that one together, but no, that's a fair interpretation. But
Any
so yeah,
other-
I mean, I love the plot, and I do agree that there was a lot of exposition. That's the other big point you guys were making. I don't necessarily feel like it was too long because it felt like a lot of events happened quickly to make it even out.
Yeah.
Like he's a kid and then he jumps to being in the police academy and then it's like a lot of these stories interlacing. And so maybe that did feel a little long, but it wasn't a detractor for me.
Yeah, it's very Hateful Eight
Yeah.
esque, getting all the characters assembled together, giving you all their little backstories, and then watching it unfold.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a loose comparison, obviously, but they're very different movies, but they're similar in that way. A lot of build up, and then once they're all together, and we kind of get the gist of what's happening, that's when the fireworks start, and that's where everything happens. Any other thoughts on plot?
No, that's it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, conflict, tension, urgency. I said great conflict, solid tension, and decent urgency. The urgency thing obviously picks up throughout the movie.
Yeah.
It's slow at the beginning, picks up more and more and more and more and more and more toward the end. There are great moments of tension, not throughout, but solid bursts of it. And then the conflict is outstanding all the way through. Internal conflict, external conflict, personal conflict with family members, with girlfriends, with people who you trust, people who you can't really trust. So much conflict, specifically internal conflict, specifically with DiCaprio's character.
Yeah.
For sure.
So good. So I gave the section an 8, mainly because of the urgency lacking overall until the last 45 minutes or so. Maybe a little bit before that.
That's true.
And the tension is really good. And like I said, in bursts, it kind of comes and goes. I think it's really, 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 really hard to maintain tension for that amount of time. Quiet Place, hour and a half,
Right.
tension the whole time.
Well, especially
2.5
because
hours. That's just tough.
you can't keep. You gotta think about the time of the movie, but the amount of time that takes place
Yeah,
in the movie
and
over
the amount of
a
time
year,
over
it's like
You can't really maintain the tension over that real life amount of time.
Right.
So an 8 feels like a good score, feels like a solid score for this section for me.
I give it a 7, mostly based on the conflict.
Yeah,
I thought the
strong.
conflict in this was phenomenal.
It's really strong.
You know, like you said, the internal with Leo's character, just the conflict between him and the cops, between him and Costello, between Damon and the cops, between Damon and pretty much between everybody. There was conflict. And so I thought that was extremely strong. The tension, like you said, it's good in moments, like especially whenever they sit down after he didn't give his social security number and all his information, walked out of the church. There's that tension there. That's very strong. Like you said, the urgency in the end, that really picks up for me probably at the point wherever the tail goes off of them as they're driving to meet... They're driving to get the cocaine in that shipping container, and the tail leaves them. From that point on, the urgency is pretty strong. But yeah, I think 7's pretty decent for that. This movie has been a game of 7s for me. So,
Dude, I mean, hey, 7s and 8s are really. I mean,
they're solid scores.
if you think about it, a 5 is an average movie, so 7 and 8 is
Still good.
above average.
Yeah.
For
For
sure.
real. What'd you give it?
I give it an 8.
8. Okay. Well, I gave the section also a 10 because agree, and you guys definitely hit the conflict. I feel like the tension, I actually feel like was there the whole time, just very minimal, but then did pick up in parts. Because, I mean, you've got that underlying tension of, and mainly... It was kind of a weird mix of tension and urgency together.
Yeah.
Because, like, in the really tense scenes, like when they're meeting the Chinese under the street or whatever, it's really, really tense, but it's also really urgent because Damon's character is trying to text and say, turn your phones off, while DiCaprio's over there with his phone and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you got to get this figured out, like, right now. And then he, like, shuts his phone off and all this.
The two best moments of tension for me were whenever he's getting beat up when he's wearing the cast and he smashes his hand with the boot or the shoe.
Nice.
That was crazy,
dude. Yeah,
good visuals over here.
And then the most intense scene for me personally was whenever DiCaprio sits down with Nicholson, just the two of them at that restaurant.
The rat.
And he does the whole rat stuff. Like, that scene is phenomenal. One of the best
very,
scenes.
Very,
in the movie.
Yeah, I agree. They didn't have tension and urgency throughout, but I felt like conflict carried it the whole way, and then you've got good intervals of tension and urgency. Yeah. So I just appreciate it a little more. Apparently,
no, dude,
okay.
The conflict is a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah,
every day of the week. It's so good. But yeah, I'm with you. I feel like the moments of tension are so strong.
And then I mean the urgency late in the movie, of course.
100%. The last 45 minutes we're flying and we are going, and it's nonstop, and it's just really, really good, for sure. Okay, cinematic elements. This one for me was difficult. I gave it an 8, and I said great acting, great directing, solid movie, classic Scorsese, just solid. But there wasn't anything for me that would push it to a 9 or a 10, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't. there wasn't an amazing cinematography or amazing music or amazing stunts or amazing explosions or there wasn't anything that was just like over the top. The music was good.
At one point they had some Rolling Stones. I was like, ooh.
The music was good, but it was like, I don't know, you know what I mean? It was like an 8 feels like a great score for this movie. I liked the movie a lot. I mean, it's on my top 25. The stunts were cool. The flip phone thing was kind of funny, and the beeper, the page
2006, bro.
Yeah, that kind of hurts it a little bit.
They actually shot the movie in like 2004, 2005, so even earlier.
That kind of hurts it, but yeah,
Dude, all drug dealers and everything have a flip phone.
I'm with you. So I give it an 8. An 8 feels like a good score. It feels like the highest score I was willing to give it, without going out on a limb too far.
Yeah.
I gave this section a 7. Something you mentioned was the cinematography. So there was some shots I was like, dang, that's a good shot. And there's some shots I was like, I don't like that shot.
Yeah.
One specifically I think of is Nicholson's character. There's a shot where he's walking through like a shop. It's at the very beginning of the movie. It's like a silhouette.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome. That was a good shot. And then there's one shot, I think it was in the scene where they're breaking his cast or whatever. It's not up anymore, but previous picture. But breaking his cast where they did like some kind of push in or something. I was like, don't like that. So the shots were hit or miss for me.
Yeah.
Overall is fine. Nothing like I was like pissed about. Something that really irked me were the backgrounds in a lot of the building shots. It looked like we were on the set of like the Tonight Show or something with how bad it looked.
How fake the backgrounds looked.
Fake the backgrounds looked. And like as someone that was in Boston last week, I was like, that doesn't look anything like how it looked in real life. Which it was cool seeing some of the places. Like I walked by the building where they had the police headquarters in. Like I saw that building. I saw the Gold Dome place. I saw that as well. That was in a bunch of shots. So that was pretty cool seeing that stuff. Like true to the stuff here. But so yeah, the backgrounds, man, those are bad. That's literally all I've written on Cinematic Elephants. Bad backgrounds. I like the music as well, though. I mentioned this earlier. There was a Rolling Stones song that came on.
The Dropkick Murphys song is always a classic.
Oh yeah.
No, and the music didn't bother me. It was solid. It just wasn't.
I noticed the music more in this movie than I do in most.
Okay.
I'm not sure why.
Very nice.
Probably just because they're recognizable in it of these songs. But 7 for me in Cinematic Elephants.
Yeah.
Elephants.
Cinematic Elephants. I gave this section an 8 also. So yeah, a lot of the things that I don't really know, like, okay, have you ever noticed when you're watching a DVD, like at certain points it's like it freezes?
Yes.
And you really weren't sure if that was meant to be there or if it was just like your DVD freezing for a second.
I noticed that.
So I feel like it did it so much in this movie that it didn't feel like my DVD skipping.
Yes.
Where like, and it was usually when it was a big like action point, like when a guy got shot, it's like the explosion of like a shotgun blast hitting his chest and it like froze and then he fell. Yeah. I was like, what is going on with this? And it wasn't like throughout, but like there was just enough for me to be like, huh? Like, I just felt like it was bad editing. I don't feel like that was a directorial decision or a cinematic decision. I just felt like it was badly edited.
So there were some bad edits in here. I'll name one. So Leonardo DiCaprio just left his like first session or whatever, and then the lady runs out after him. There's a scene where she's talking, she like moves her head, but then she stops talking, and then there's a shot from behind her, and she's like, it's almost like she was still talking. Like the shots didn't match. The shots didn't match up. And so I do agree. I think there were some bad edits in there.
So I mean, that's one of the main reasons I docked it. That's actually the main reason that I docked it 2 points, because I'm like, come on, it's Martin Scorsese. You got to catch that kind of stuff. But I love the acting. Totally is what made it amazing movie. Directing was great.
Yeah, for sure.
Soundtrack was great. So yeah, that's why I gave it a 8.
That is a total score of a 41 out of 50 for me.
Yep. Luke?
35 out of 50.
Nice. Mine is a 45
Nice.
out of 50.
Pretty good balance right there.
That's a pretty good balance, yeah.
What was yours?
41.
41? Okay.
So I mean 45, 35, and then I'm basically the average. I mean, I'm one above the average between
Yeah.
the two of you.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I like that movie a lot. It's in my top 25. It's 23 for me, or 21 for me.
It's like
It's
11
top
or
15
12
for
for
you.
me.
And then you don't have it in your...
So I definitely like this movie. This is the second time I watched it. I liked it a lot more the second time I watched it. So I didn't really care for it the first time, and then this time I watched it, and Daniel was like, "How was it?" I was like, "I like it.
This is one of those movies that I will, and I know I said it earlier, you do have to watch this movie more to, and that's the unfortunate part, because yeah, it's a 2.5 hour movie, but you do have to watch it more to understand and get, and I feel like almost appreciate just a little bit more every time you watch it.
This was my second time to watch it, and I liked it more the first time.
Huh.
I think the mystery of it, the suspense of it, the not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing who was going to die at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was, for me, at least the first time watching it.
Okay.
Because I remember we talked about it on the show when I watched it originally, and I snuck it in my top 25 pretty recently after that. And it fell a couple of spots last time because a bunch of other movies came in. But yeah, I don't know if it would stay in my top 25 now after that second viewing. There's a lot of other good movies out there, but it's still really good. I don't dislike it, but I did enjoy it more the first time. I think it loses, for me at least, it lost a little bit of that mystery aspect. It's kind of like if I were to go see Knives Out again. Like, Knives Out's a good movie.
Yeah.
If I were to go see it again, would it be as good? Probably not. It's not that kind of movie.
I got you.
You know, like Endgame or whatever, big epic movie you could watch a million times and get more and more and more like out of it every time because there's so much in there. I don't know. It's just not that kind of movie for me. At least it wasn't this time. I did like it though. 41 is a really pretty good score.
Yeah, that's a good score.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I got
80?
I got a couple of meta questions. Yeah, that's an 82.
82
out of 100 if you were to do that.
90, baby.
90. Meta questions.
Yeah, I got a few.
Real quick. Top 1 or 2 DiCaprio movie, Damon movie, Wahlberg movie, Nicholson movie, Sheen movie, Scorsese movie.
Oh boy!
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no for pretty much all of them.
Okay, well then I'm the only one who's gonna have yeses. All right, go. DiCaprio, yes.
Really?
It's probably number 2 for me.
Okay.
Revenant is number 1.
Really?
Not Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
That's 3.
Okay.
Shutter Island?
That's like 6. That was a good one, but no, this is
Great Gatsby?
probably not.
Wahlberg?
No.
Probably not his top 1 or 2 movies.
Nicholson?
No. Yes.
Nicholson for me is the only one that I would say yes to because I don't really like him as the Joker.
Oh, I like him a lot.
Dude, yeah, this is Joker.
He's
than
good
this.
as the Joker, but he's not like...
I like him a lot in The Shining, too.
Yeah,
Sheen-
Shining was good.
Sheen, I don't know. I haven't seen him in a whole lot of other stuff, I guess.
But wait, isn't he Spider-Man's dad in Amazing Spider-Man?
He's the Uncle Ben.
He's Uncle Ben. And,
obviously,
but I mean,
number
he was
one.
in Apocalypse Now.
He's the president
he
of
was-
West Wing.
Yeah, he was in West Wing. Jed Bartlett.
Scorsese. I'm going to say no for me. I've got Shutter Island above this one, and I've got Irishman above this one.
No, I'm going to say this is the best Scorsese for me.
I'm going to say no.
What do you got?
Trying to think. I honestly just forgot all.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Movie.
Okay.
Forgot. What are the other Scorsese movies? I literally just
Irish,
forgot.
Shutter Island.
Island.
Irishman, Wolf of Wall Street.
Casino.
Goodfellas.
Taxi
See,
Driver.
Goodfellas is up there for me too. That's probably 2 or 3 now.
I'm gonna have this at like number 3 or something. I like Shutter Island a lot, and the Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, that was good as well.
What's your meta question?
That was your only one?
I've got a couple, 1 or 2 more.
Okay. Okay, so again, most of my meta questions are of those really weird little missable things that don't get explained.
Yeah.
First one is when Matt Damon graduates from the police academy, He sees Jack Nicholson's car over there, and he goes over to it, and Jack Nicholson gives him a graduation gift. What was it? And again, none of these are blatantly answered, so these are all left up to interpretation.
No clue.
So to me, and I'll just give you mine because I've thought through most of these, I think it was a phone to symbolize, hey, you may have graduated the police department academy, but you're still mine. So here is your phone to me, to where
This is our way of connecting. In the
this
future.
is you're still
Interesting.
my and you're still my kid, whatever you want to have it.
Sure.
Again, you may not have answers for these, but there are those little missable details that are interesting to me.
No, that sounds good to me.
I didn't realize he gave him something, so I'm trying to think.
Yeah, he gave him like a box, and it looks like it's like a watch box or something of that size.
I think a phone sounds good. I
Well,
mean, the
sure.
phones were really small
Yeah.
back then, yeah.
I'm trying to think of like there's anything that he like had on him in the movie, like a necklace or like a watch or a ring or a bracelet. Like,
Yeah, I mean nothing that I can.
I don't know.
Nothing that I could like divulge and be like, oh, that was it.
Yeah.
But I mean, again,
Not for sure.
That's
anyway.
a good question though.
Okay, so we kind of already hit what was the letter from Costigan to the shrink, and we think that was the evidence of, say, hey, give this to Mark Wahlberg.
That's who I'd give any of my evidence, anyways.
Well, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, so here's another one. Was Costello Matt Damon's biological father?
No.
No.
Why?
I don't. They don't look alike. I'm just kidding. That's not actually a real reason because actors never actually.
Okay,
play
well,
anybody.
fair.
But
Hey,
no,
that old guy that they got to play Saving Private Ryan and Saving Private Ryan.
You're
looked-
right. You're right.
It wasn't bad. Yeah.
I'm gonna say no because I don't think he is paternal in that way. I think he's more like a cool uncle, which like maybe could be his parenting style. He's a bad dude, so maybe that's kind of his thing. But I would say no. I would say that I feel like he's more distant and he's more manipulative and he's more using him than anything.
I think Dad was his like code name.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know they called him that like on the phone and everything like that. And so that's kind of why it made it a question for me, because also at the end, like right before he actually like shoots him for the 50th time, he says something along the lines of, how'd you have all this killing and effing, like as in other women, and not have any sons? And it's like Matt Damon says that to him, and it's like he's trying to put things together. And so it's kind of a moment of where he's kind of realizing, but again, never really clearly said,
Well, at the beginning,
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm right.
I don't-
You know what I mean?
I don't
Like,
know.
I think at the beginning of the diner, doesn't he ask like, "Hey, like, aren't you whatever's son?"
well,
And he's like, "What
that
are you,
also doesn't really mean anything. I mean,
Yeah.
there are people in movies that have,
Yeah,
especially in Boston,
true.
that some dude F's some married
Yeah,
chick
yeah.
and has a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's plausible.
I mean, yeah, it's
In a weird
plausible,
way,
yeah,
it's plausible.
but I don't think so.
I got you. That's fine. AJ, I got a couple more, but what
My
else?
last one's kind of the same-ish question. How does this rank against other cop movies or other mob movies, or both? For me, it's up there for both. I would say Irishman is a better mob movie.
I would say,
Cop movie? I don't know. Might be the best one.
yeah,
for
for
me.
me, it ranks higher in the cop movies
I agree.
than the mob movies. I mean, for mob movies, I think of like Godfather. I think of Goodfellas now.
Yeah.
I think of,
So I would
even
say-
Irishman.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's number one cop movie.
I would say, yeah, it's
Training
a
Day is up
really
there.
good cop like story movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then I would say top three, probably top five mobster movie. Top five, is
possibly.
probably
Yeah,
better.
yeah.
But that's my last question.
It's out of my top 5 for mobsters.
There's just a lot of good
And
mob
it's-
movies.
I think it's.
But this is less of a mob movie, more of a cop movie. I feel like.
I don't think it's my number 1 cop movie, but I think it's definitely 3 or 4.
Don't you think this is more of a cop movie than a mobster
Oh yeah,
movie?
yeah.
The mob's just like the bad guy. It's not actually a mobster
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
So this is probably not even fair to compare against other mobster movies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so, but yeah,
His loose mob ties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, more than loose. I mean, the dude's like...
Dude
Right.
is a mobster.
But you're right. It's not a mobster movie in
Yeah.
the sense of...
Right.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, that's all I got.
All right, so there's one other of the big kind of plot holes. Who do you think was the shrink's baby's father?
Leo.
I agree. I think that
Because the way she acts afterward.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so again, I feel like that's the easiest one of the implied
Yeah, I think
things
so too.
that's-
That one's, like you said, I think that's the most implied in the
Yeah.
on screen, for sure.
And then I'm trying to I wrote it down, but I don't remember the context. Was the jumping around in the story timeline confusing or helpful?
It was a little confusing, but I don't think it like hurt it that much. It was like a little bit of shock.
I don't think it jumped that much. It just jumped
I'm trying
A
to
lot.
remember why
like spatially.
maybe that's what I'm thinking.
You're talking about like the size of the jump or like the length of the jump.
Oh, I'm thinking about like where it's like certain scenes felt like an episode of Family Guy where like they're talking about something and they have like a flashback in their brain and then it flashes back to real time. It felt like there were a few too many of those, and I can't remember.
He's talking about it.
Yeah, because like there's points where like
when Leo and his mother's dying.
Yeah.
Like, he talks
his
about
mom's
her-
dying
yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever,
Well, he
and then
talks-
it flashes back to where or like his
Yeah.
it's he's in the police office
Yeah.
with Wahlberg and Sheen, and then like it flashes back to like his mom dying, and then it's like a 10-minute scene or something or other, and then you like forget where
It's like
he's.
Birds of Prey.
Well, I haven't seen that movie, but
Oh.
okay, we believe you.
Like that movie.
Okay, yeah, cool. So, but yeah, that was thank you. That made it cleared it all up for me in my brain. But yeah, that was my last question.
Nice. Is that it?
That's all I got.
Is that it? All right.
Nice.
That was a good movie. I'm
Yep.
I'm glad we got to that one.
Yep. I have now, admittedly, gone back to my old ways of scoring and not being so judgmental, because obviously this was the highest movie I've ranked this year. It's not just because I picked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, AJ picks crappy movies, so
Okay. Braveheart is not a crappy movie. Neither is The Prestige. I want
No.
to point that out. That
Prestige is in my
y'all
top 25,
both
bro.
have The Prestige in your top 25, and yet you both gave it a 35 or lower.
I don't remember. Maybe.
So
Anyway,
AJ picks crappy movies is fake news. Paul just gives good scores to movies he wants.
I don't know. We won't. ever
Luke just
rush
gives
it.
bad scores to every movie under the sun, not named Blade Runner.
dude, I do want to. We don't
Luke,
have to.
Luke is he's our resident Simon Cowell. That's,
Right?
That's who
The
Luke
Prestige. I gave that a
is. Like a 30.
38.
Yeah, there you go. 38. It's in
38.
your top- It's in your own top 25.
But what's my number 25? Like,
Come
what's
on, bro.
Back to the Future, bro.
Friggin' Back to the Future.
that movie's freaking good.
I'm done.
My number
I'm done
25
for the night. Signing off.
is Star Wars Episode 3, but I would not give that a 40 or anything.
Good job.
Bro, Star Wars Episode 3 is so good. We should just like argue one episode, just like not even talk
How
about
Luke's wrong.
talk about anything,
No,
just
I'm kidding.
just have like a WWE SmackDown.
The
That's right,
resident
dude.
Simon Cowell.
Simon Cowell.
That's funny.
Wrong.
Hey, we're never gonna let you live down the Stanford prison experiment, though.
That is not a bad movie. Okay? Not a bad movie at all. Hey,
we thought American Gangster. was a bad
American
movie.
Gangster was your pick.
I need to watch that
No, it was
movie.
your pick.
No, it was not my
no,
pick.
because you said
It was
Austin.
your
Austin
pick.
recommended it.
And then
I did not pick that movie.
And you picked.
I picked Heat. I picked Heat.
Oh yes.
You picked American Gangster.
You picked Heat. Heat was terrible. Come on, bro. Then Paul picked.
There was parts of Heat that were
what's it
really good.
called? The Boondock, whatever.
See, like that.
The Boondock Saints.
Oh yeah, that shot looked very
That
bad,
looks
but
terrible.
I mean, well, it's because of the rat in there. That's why I picked that
Oh
picture.
no! So that scene, they were pushing in on it, and then they just stopped. They stopped the push. Like
Oh,
it's like Martin Scorsese
really
was like, whoa, whoa,
abrupt.
whoa, 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 whoa.
stop moving!
Yeah, and they just jarringly stopped.
He's like,
okay.
if you keep moving anymore, you're gonna see the bad part of the background.
Yeah. But no, that's all I got. Is that all you guys got?
That's all I got.
Yeah, AJ's putting his mic away, so
I
we
told
better
you
end
I'm
it.
signing off, baby.
AJ's saying, "See you later." He's got places to be.
He's got to go to bed.
I do need to go to bed. I'm so tired. I am so
All
tired.
right. Well, that was episode 40. We got some big things coming up, so stay tuned, guys.